There's an old, abandoned house at the edge of town. It's been there for as long as anyone can remember, decaying slowly but surely, overtaken by vines and shadows. The locals avoid it, whispering about strange noises that come from the place at night. They say it's haunted, but no one really knows for sure. That is, until one night, when a curious man named Adam decided he would see for himself. Adam wasn't a believer in ghosts or spirits. He was a skeptic, a man of logic, and nothing could convince him otherwise. So when he heard the stories about the house, he laughed. Just an old house, he thought. Nothing to be afraid of. His friends warned him not to go, but Adam brushed them off. What harm could a dusty, forgotten house really cause? He arrived at the house just as the sun began to set. The overgrown lawn whispered with the wind, the trees swaying and creaking like ancient giants. The house loomed before him, a shadowy figure, its broken windows staring like empty eyes. Adam's heart raced slightly, but only from excitement, he assured himself. He stepped onto the front porch, the wooden boards creaking under his weight. The door was ajar, just wide enough for him to slip through. He pushed it open, the rusty hinges screeching like a shriek of pain. Inside, the air was thick and heavy. Dust hung in the air, disturbed by the faintest movements. Adam squinted into the darkness, the floor beneath him covered in layers of grime. The silence felt suffocating, so oppressive, it was as if the house itself was holding its breath, waiting for something. He called out, "Hello, is anyone here?" But the only response was the eerie echo of his voice bouncing off the walls. As Adam moved deeper into the house, he noticed strange markings on the walls. Symbols that looked they'd been scratched into the wood with desperation. His curiosity got the best of him, and he moved closer. Suddenly, the temperature dropped. Adam's breath misted in front of him, a sign that something wasn't quite right. He felt a chill crawl down his spine, but he shook it off, telling himself it was just the cold air. As he turned the corner into a room, at the end of the hallway, he froze. The room was empty, except for an old rocking chair, sitting in the middle, its worn wooden arms curling with age. But the most unsettling part was the chair's slow, rhythmic rocking. It was moving on its own. His pulse quickened. "This is stupid," Adam muttered to himself, stepping toward the chair. But as his hand brushed the back of it, the rocking stopped abruptly. In that moment, Adam felt a hand on his shoulder. He spun around, heart pounding, but there was no one there. Just the cold, empty room. Panic clawed at him. He turned to leave, but as he took a step back, he heard a low, guttural whisper right behind him. "Get out." Frozen, Adam's blood ran cold. His eyes darted to the door. In the reflection of the cracked mirror on the wall, he saw something that made his stomach churn. Something standing in the hallway, just out of sight. It was tall, its form barely visible, but its glowing eyes fixed on him. Adam didn't wait. He bolted for the door, his breath shallow, his feet stumbling as the air around him grew heavier and colder. He reached the porch and as he slammed the door behind him, he heard one last sound, a slow, deliberate knock. It came from inside. Adam never spoke of the house again. He never even drove past it. But every night, when the wind howled through the trees, he swore he could still hear that knock. And sometimes, when he looked in the mirror, he could feel those glowing eyes watching him.